So what is going on, everybody? I'm back with another YouTube video now. In today's video, guys, I am going to be ranking every single Michael Myers mask that has been featured in the Halloween franchise. I'll explain kind of my rules and my how I decided all of the masks that I threw in here. And when I get to that, I'll announce just how many masks I'm going to have to rank in this video, because I'm sure you guys are probably thinking, I'm just going to go with 13 masks because of the new Halloween Ends that is coming out and all that. I will explain that in a minute, but I feel like in this video I do gotta throw in a few announcements because it has been almost a month since I have made a video. I have been extremely busy with school starting back up, and I have not found the time to record a YouTube video. And also, I was kind of just struggling to figure out what I was going to do next in the first place anyway. But I think a good theme for, going into the Halloween season, fall season, whatever you want to say, I think a good theme for this year would be centered around Halloween. I don't think I've done this in a while, since the beginning of my channel. Any of these particular rankings, it's just every year I've re-ranked the franchise if there is a new movie that has came out, but I've never gone as far as, doing all these other miscellaneous rankings that are also cool to do. So expect a lot of cool rankings coming out in October that are centered around the Halloween franchise, because of course Halloween Ends is coming out on October 14th. I'm super excited for it. I can't wait till they release another trailer. We've learned a few more plot details here and there that get me a little bit more excited for it, so I am definitely excited for it. And I am going to have to wait to make some of the videos for it, because, I can't make a final decision until I see the movie, and then, I can do all those videos. But what I would like to do is, like, top 10 moments in the Halloween franchise, Halloween actors ranked, of course, the Halloween movies ranked, all kinds of different stuff. Yeah, I'm just going to be doing, doing what this channel is meant for in the first place, and, making a lot of these videos that are coming out in October Halloween themed. There will be a few movies that I'll be watching in October as well that aren't necessarily just Halloween Ends. I would like to go see that Smile movie. Additionally, I would like to see, I think I'm going to rewatch Avatar so I can do a review for that. And I'm probably going to watch Black Adam as well. So there are a few movies coming out in October as well. But it is going to be kind of a slow start. I do have my surgery tomorrow, which is why I'm recording this video today. I know you guys have probably forgot about that by now, but it got postponed so much. So I'll probably be off from making videos for 2 weeks, because I don't know exactly how I'm gonna feel, and if I'm gonna be able to talk this quickly and everything like that, articulate stuff this quickly. So probably going to take it off for about 2 weeks, but in the meantime, I'll get this video edited and uploaded so that you guys are not left with nothing for another 2 weeks, because if I didn't make a video now, you guys would be left blank for another 2 weeks, and it would be over a month with no videos. But truth be told, I have been pretty busy lately, and I just have not been able to make any videos. But I finally got Rotten Tomatoes fixed. I got bet logged back in, so that'll make it easier for the reviews and everything like that. So that's good. So yeah, I wanted to make this video quick, and then while I'm recovering, edit it and upload it for you guys so that you guys are not left blank with no videos. So yeah, now let's get on to the details of this video. So you're probably going to be surprised by this number, but I managed to scrape up, following my rules, the mask has to have been worn by Michael Myers in the movie, so it can't be things like, the Ben Tramer mask, which would have been really cool to make, and I know, Trick or Treat Studios has made that mask, many fans have done that mask, or I've even seen people make the mask that was in the cover of Halloween 4, I've seen all kinds of different mask variations that have been made by fans. But this is only going to include masks that were worn by Michael Myers in any of the given movies in the Halloween franchise. So this is going to include even masks that were just featured in one scene. Just one scene. And so far, I was able to, I could be missing, one or two or something like that, but I'm pretty sure I hunted down absolutely every single mask that has been worn by Michael Myers in the Halloween franchise. And I managed to scrape up 24 masks that were featured in the entire Halloween franchise. This is a lot to unravel. A lot of these will be pretty quick, though, I will admit, especially the first, probably 15 are going to probably be pretty easy to explaining everything, because most of them were just used in a few scenes here and there. So yeah, don't expect this to be an extremely long ranking or anything like that, but we got 24 masks to rank, and yeah, it just seems like the Halloween franchise has had such a weird history with masks, where they kept messing up and they never wanted to go back to fix their mistakes. It just seems like every movie, after even just the first one, with Halloween 2 messing up on the mask because they were never planning a sequel. I'll explain that in each and every mask, why this mask was featured, especially if it is like an oddly, out of place mask or anything like that. I'll explain to you guys why the mask was in the movie, but just Halloween franchise has to be one of the strangest franchises for its mask history. Like, its mask history is so unique to this franchise, and I really don't think that the Halloween franchise would be as special as it was without its just crazy history with masks and the many, many different variations of the original Shatner mask. So I think I'm actually kind of happy that they, in every single movie, pretty much, that the mask has changed. They've tried something different, or they just flat out messed up and they were just too lazy to do it. I think it adds its own unique aspect to each and every Halloween movie that has came out. So I do like that, but admittedly, some of these masks are really, really, really terrible. And yeah, let's just kind of do this ranking and also simultaneously kind of go down the history of all of the masks that were featured in the Halloween franchise. So I know that was a bit of a long intro, but let's get into it. Coming in at number 24 is going to be the CGI mask featured in Halloween H2O. Now, if some of you are not aware of this, there was one small scene in H2O where a CGI mask was used. Yes, a digital effects mask, and it wasn't even real. And that is the reason why it goes at number 24, is because it's not even real. So even if it was really, really good, I'm not going to rank it high because they literally made it from digital effects. Regardless, though, the mask looks terrible either way. You can, and once you know that it's a CGI mask and you know the scene, it is going to stick out like a sore thumb every single time. And we still got 3 more masks on this ranking that are from H2O alone. And all of them kind of have their own unique things to talk about as well. But yeah, the CGI mask goes at number 24 spot for obvious reasons, because it's not even real and it looks terrible. It was in this one minor scene. I believe in that scene, they forgot to replace the K and B mask, and they just got lazy and decided to put in the CGI mask so that they didn't have to redo that scene. I know, you're going to see this a lot in this ranking. They just got too lazy to redo some of these stupid scenes. So, yeah, without further ado, next one. Number 23 is going to be the pink mask. I don't really know of anything else to call it, but the pink mask from Halloween 4, which was featured in, again, one minor scene in Halloween 4 where he throws Dr. Loomis out the window. Again, once you see this scene, it is going to stick out like a sore thumb. And even before I knew about this, I was and I watched the scene, I was like, something's off here. What is going on with the mask? And then I saw somebody point it out, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that, and now it makes sense now. So the backstory behind this one is that when they were going to shoot the scene, they brought the wrong mask. They brought so originally in Halloween 4, they were trying to redo the William Shatner mask, but they messed up horribly with them, and they all turned out pink with like blonde hair and stuff like that. So when they went to shoot this scene, they brought over the wrong mask, if I stand corrected. And so, again, they just got too lazy to reshoot the scene with the mask that they used throughout the rest of the film, and just kept it there and didn't think anybody was really gonna think much about it. So, again, just another mask that was left in there because they were too lazy to take it out, and it does look terrible. Albeit, it would be really cool to have one of those masks just because of how goofy looking it looks. Like, the eyes are really, like, stretched out, kind of like how the William Shatner mask was. It's pink, it's got blonde hair. I will show you, the pictures in this video, obviously, of all of the masks. But yeah, number 23 is that pink mask. at the number 22 spot is going to be kind of the black paper mask. I don't really know how to explain it any further than that. It's not necessarily a terrible mask, but it is one of the masks in the remakes of the Halloween franchise that was used in the first 30-minute, 40-minute sequence where Michael Myers is a kid and he's in the asylum, and he made a whole bunch of just kind of crafty masks and stuff like that, and one of them was this black paper mask. And in the scene, it's pretty much just Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers having a discussion about black's not actually a color and stuff like that. So it was an interesting little scene. It's not necessarily a terrible mask. It's just, obviously I would much rather prefer the rest of the masks on this ranking over this one, so just wanted to include that one in here as well. 21 is another one of the, DOI masks in the Halloween remake, Rob Zombie remake, which is the Kid Jack-o'-lantern mask. There's actually two variations of this mask that Tyler Mane wore in this movie. Well, I guess not Tyler Mane, but Michael Myers wore in this movie, and one of them was like this kid variation of this. It kind of looked like a jack-o'-lantern, and admittedly, it looks pretty cool. Again, I would prefer the Shatner mask over it all day, but it does look pretty cool, and it shows that Michael Myers was pretty artistic, at least in the remake universe. So, yeah, just another quick one to add on there. Number 20, and this honestly just shows how crappy this mask is, and it just really emphasizes how bad this mask really is. There's honestly no excuse why it should be this low in the ranking with how many just one-scene masks that were thrown in the Halloween franchise. And at number 20 is going to be the Halloween 5 mask. This mask just looks so terrible. It's got this kind of elongated face because I believe it was actually molded off of Greg Nicotero's face, so I don't know how long his face is, but he must have had a longer face and neck because, well, I don't even think that's an excuse, because in this mask, for some reason, they decided to kind of go all the way down to the neck and almost kind of the shoulders as well. So it makes the mask look really elongated. You also have kind of this pointy nose, and then the hair also extends down further. So Michael Myers kind of just looks like a witch in this mask, and it looks really, really bad. And we're supposed to believe that this is the same mask that was used in Halloween 4. I guess you could argue that, after going through the river water and sitting down for a year, maybe all this would happen to it, but I don't even think that's a believable story. This mask just looks bad. It looks like a witch, and it is just one of the many things that is terrible about Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. So, number 20, Halloween 5. Number 19 is going to be the KNB mask. We now have two of the 4 masks that were used in the Halloween H2O movie. And second lowest is going to be the KNB mask. If you don't know about the KNB mask, I'm sure you've seen it in a few pictures online maybe a few times, and you're like, that wasn't used in the movie. What is this mask doing here? And this mask originally was going to be used in the Halloween H2O franchise, so there were a few leaked pictures of what it looked like in some of these closer shots. But they decided to leave the KNB mask only for the longer distance shots and used instead the Stan Winston mask, which was the mask used in the majority of the movie. So, again, this is another one of those masks where now that you realize that this mask was used in longer distance shots, you watch this movie again, you pay attention, you're going to be able to tell that it was the KNB mask used. It looks almost like an alien. It looks pretty bad. So, in long distance shots, it's still pretty easy to tell that it's the KNB mask, and I can't even believe it was KNB that messed up this mask so badly. In longer distance shots, it doesn't look terrible. It definitely stands out knowing that it is the KNB mask, but in those close-up shots, it looks really, really bad. He doesn't necessarily look, he looks a little bit scary, admittedly, but it just looks bad. He looks like an alien, and it's just not a good mask, despite it being a little bit scary, especially in that shot where he's got his head stuck through the window and he's staring at Laurie. You know what scene I'm talking about. If you do kind of a side-to-side comparison of that and the Stan Winston mask, honestly, I think I would prefer the KNB mask. It does look creepy. Obviously, the eyes are a lot more hidden, look a lot better. So I think it would have been better for them to just use the Stan Winston in the further away shots, especially with how big the eye holes are. I don't know. Both of them are pretty bad. I mean, I'll talk about the Stan Winston when I get there, but not much more to say about the Can-Be. Number 18 is going to be the Rob Zombie 2 remake Ripped mask. Now, there's two variations of this mask, and I don't know why some people don't include it in its ranking, but as I see it, there are two distinct variations of this mask in the Rob Zombie remake, and one of them is the Ripped mask, and then the other one is the Bloody mask, which I'll talk about later. But this Ripped mask I am not a big fan about it. Fan of it. It doesn't necessarily look terrible, but when you combine it with everything that Myers is wearing in this movie, I'm just not a huge fan of it. I think the hair is a little bit too much. I don't like how it shows almost half of his face. And it just, quite frankly, added on to all of the clothing that Myers wears in the majority of this movie. He just looks like a hobo, and that's not what I want from Michael Myers. I don't want him looking like a homeless man, just like a creepy homeless man who's, trying to kill you. That's not what I want. Sorry, guys, I don't know why I'm being a little bit hoarse today, but, yeah, I'm not a fan of this Rip mask. It doesn't necessarily look bad or anything. It's just a little bit too revealing, and combined with the rest of the stuff, the rest of the apparel on Myers in this movie, it just makes Michael Myers look like a hobo, and I'm not a fan of that. So, at number, 18 is the RZ2 Ripped mask. That's the name I gave it. Number 17, and before this one, I made sure to grab a drink of water after how hoarse I was in those last few. Number 17 is going to be the Halloween 4 mask. And this one, as well as the Halloween 5 one, I feel like are very mixed on how people feel about them. I feel like over the years, overall, people have began to like them a little bit more, or I guess hate them less than they used to. They don't necessarily like them anymore. But with all of the crappy masks that we've had over the years, and, if you've ever done any online shopping and you've just seen some of the really, really crappy masks that are on there, I think everybody's kind of just warmed up to these masks a little bit, gotten more used to them. And that's certainly me with the Halloween 4 mask, and also the Halloween 5 mask a little bit. If you asked me years ago, I probably would have told you the Halloween 5 mask looks terrible. Really, really terrible. Not as terrible as I think it is now. And the Halloween 4 mask, I definitely feel the same way about this one. And if you don't know the history behind this one also does have a little bit of history behind it. So, obviously, the pink mask was what the mask would have looked like if they didn't do any changes to it. And I think, honestly, yeah, if the colors were done correctly, that mask would have looked decent. But it ended up being, blonde hair, pink face, whatever. So they ended up having to paint this mask over and over several times so that they could get it completely white. Also, they had to do the hair as well. So it made this mask look really, really flat, almost. Like, there's not a lot of messiness to it. And that's kind of how the Myers masks are supposed to be if you're basing it off of the original. So this mask looks a little bit flat, which isn't really a huge problem for me. What is the problem for me, though, is that this mask is too emotionless. So, you're going to see, different balances in this ranking where it's, too emotionless, or it has too much emotion, and in this mask case, there is too little emotion. There's almost no detail on the face other than down by the nose, but there's really no other emotion on the mask other than that, and it just makes his face look really, really stupid in certain scenes. In other scenes, it doesn't look too bad, especially in the scene, one of the scenes where I think the mask actually looked pretty good, and creepy, was when he, the shotgun into the wall, kill, and he stands back and he looks at her, stuck in the wall and everything like that. The eyes are really, really dark. The mask looks pretty good under that lighting. But in other scenes, especially the scene where he gets up from the bed, it just looks really, really goofy. He just looks like a joke. Almost looks a little bit sad, as well. So yeah, this mask does look a little bit goofy, but it's certainly not as terrible as I would have told you it was. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Halloween 4 mask. Coming at the number 16 spot, and this one certainly might be a little bit controversial, is going to be the Stan Winston mask. So this is the third out of 4 masks used in the Halloween H2O movie, and the Stan Winston one is the third, is in the number 3rd spot in that individual ranking, but The Stan Winston mask, this is another one where I definitely warmed up to it over the years. In fact, I used to like the Halloween 5 mask now that I remember it, and this was the one that I hated so much. This was the one that I think was like close to the bottom of my ranking. I used to hate this mask so much, but I've definitely warmed up to it over the years, and really just H2O in general. I've began to like H2O a lot more over the years as a Halloween sequel. And the Stan Winston mask, really the only problem that most people can give for this mask is the eyes, which I totally understand. The eyes are horrible, and they just make certain scenes so awkward, especially when he's being, kicked by Laurie or whatever, and he's got the deer in the headlights look, the kind of surprised, I just got kicked in the balls face, and it just looks so stupid. In the window scene, like I talked about earlier with the side-by-side comparison, I don't think it looks terrible. In that scene, I think I would prefer the K and B mask, but I don't think it looks terrible. And I think this mask would have been better for long-distance shots. Both K and B and this mask, because the eyes are just way too big to be, up close where you can just see every single expression he's making. But otherwise, I don't really have any other problems with this mask. I think they nailed the detail. Well, not nailed it, but they did a pretty good job on the detail and the hair. I like the kind of messy hair. It's like, a little bit different from, the rest of the masks that we've seen beforehand. So I like how they tried to go for something a little bit different and not just tried to copy the hair from all of the rest of them. So it's a little bit messy, and the only really complaint that I have about this mask is the eyes, which throws it off so much, because obviously the eyes matter a lot in the Myers masks. But other than that, I don't really have any other problems with this mask. It goes in at the number 16 spot, though, just because those eyes, it just ruined it so much. But number 15 is going to be the clown mask, which I think just goes at this spot largely because it is just iconic. And there were many options that they had, before they made the original Halloween that they had other options other than just the Shatner mask. They were going to go with, they had options like the clown mask, or there were a few others that they were deciding on. But the main ones were the clown mask and the William Shatner mask. And they ended up going with the William Shatner mask and turning it into a masterpiece, which obviously I'll talk about later. But the clown mask is just iconic for, its first scene with young Michael Myers killing his sister and then coming out of the house and, with the mask on and the clown costume and all that. It's just an iconic scene, and I think just because of how iconic this mask is to the franchise, I think it deserves to go at the number 15 spot. By the way, this also includes the remake clown mask. I decided to bunch these two together because they basically look the exact same. There's not really any difference between them. So I decided to put, bunch those two together. But because of just how iconic the clown mask is to the young character of Michael Myers, I decided to put it here at the number 15 spot. Number 14 is going to be the Halloween Resurrection mask, and this is an example of a mask that had too much detail. So with Halloween 4, too little detail. With this mask, there is too much detail. Too much detail to the point where this mask just looks fake. And it's not a bad thing. Again, this is another mask where I think pretty much every mask in the franchise, so far I've warmed up to over the years, but this mask still looks it just looks fake with some of the features that it has. And I'm just gonna be straight up honest, like, the eyebrows are way too defined. They look like they were almost just painted on there. They look kind of like fake eyebrows. And there's just way too much detail on, the lower part of the face by the nose and everything like that, to the point where Michael Myers almost looks angry, which is not a bad thing, but it's just too much detail, and it makes the mask look fake. The hair looks pretty good. They definitely did a better job on the eyes than they did. I'll say it's an improvement from the H2O. The eyes, still a bit of a problem in this movie, where you can see the eyes, and he's got this angry look. He's moving around, and he's got this angry eye look, and it stands out. And then also when you learn the fact that they put in eyeshadow to try to darken it a little bit more, stands out as well. So Still, the eyes are a bit of a problem in this mask as well, and then the fact that there is just too much detail with this mask to the point where it just looks kind of fake. So that's pretty much all the complaints I have for the Halloween Resurrection mask. Otherwise, in certain shots under certain lighting, this mask does look pretty creepy. Not gonna lie about that. So, especially in those long distance shots where he's kind of walking down the hallway and everything like that, it looks pretty good. Not gonna lie about that. I feel like I've said not gonna lie about that so many times in this video. So, yeah, Resurrection goes at number 14. Number 13 is going to be the Rob Zombie first remake clean version. So not the, decrepit, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be the clean version. So the before it, got ruined and everything like that at the opening sequence of the Halloween remake, where it's young Michael Myers and he's wearing the mask and it's obviously very oversized. And actually it was his sister's boyfriend that got the mask. So yeah, the RZ Clean mask, not really much to talk about it. Obviously, I prefer the just regular Rob Zombie mask in the remake. But still pretty good, and it just shows you what the mask would look like if it was not decrepit and everything like that. And honestly, if that was in, like one of the Halloween sequels, it would look pretty decent. I think there's a little bit too much definition, and that is kind of fixed when you have it decrepit and you can't really see all those details. To the point where he kind of looks angry. But otherwise, pretty solid masks. Definitely a lot better than what we have seen in the many sequels of the Halloween franchise. Number 12 is going to be the bandage face, which isn't really a mask, but it was something worn by Michael Myers on his face to cover his face, so I'm throwing it in here. And the bandage face, it does look pretty good. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about in the beginning of Halloween 4, after he, breaks out of the ambulance vehicle, and his face is all stitched up because, obviously they were trying to trying to take care of him and all that kind of stuff. And you see in a few scenes this bandage face look, and I'm not gonna, and I gotta be honest, it looks pretty good. Honestly, I would have been satisfied with this look throughout the rest of the movie because it looked really, really good. Really creepy, and I just loved it in that small scene where he's killing a few of the employees in the gas station, and then Dr. Loomis comes in there. It looks really, really solid, so I wanted to include the bandage face on here, just because just how freaking sick it looked, and I think it would have been so cool if it was used throughout the rest of the movie, maybe for a little bit longer, until, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I would definitely prefer this mask over the Halloween 4 mask, that's for sure. And I would have been totally okay with this mask being used throughout the rest of the movie. So, yeah, the bandage face, it looks really, really solid. That's all I gotta say there. And at number 11 is going to be the quote-unquote adult jack-o'-lantern mask used in the Rob Zombie remake, which was primarily used in the asylum sequence where he's trying to get out of the asylum. And this mask looks really, really intimidating. I think it looks really, really good for the taller, more buffer Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie remakes that we got. And I think it looks really, really solid. It looks really intimidating. Obviously, again, like many of the other, many of the other masks that were used in the Rob Zombie remake, that were not just the traditional Michael Myers mask. I would prefer the Shatner mask, but otherwise, this jack-o'-lantern mask that Michael Myers created looks pretty darn solid and intimidating, so I like it. And it goes at the number 11 spot. Finally, at number 10 is going to be the regular Rob Zombie mask that was used in most of the Rob Zombie remake. And this mask looks really, really good. I think they did a better job in the Halloween 2018 with making it look older and decrepit. But, yeah, Rob Zombie did a really, really good job on this mask. Yeah, I just love how... I just love the detail and, how ruined it is and everything like that. I think it's a little bit more realistic than the 2018 mask, but I still like the 2018 mask better. With just the tears and things like that on a latex mask. It just seems more realistic. But, overall, yeah, really solid mask. With all of the problems that people have with this movie, no matter the opinion you have on this movie, I think everybody can say that the mask looks pretty darn solid, and Rob Zombie did a great job with it. So number 10 is the Rob Zombie mask. Number 9, this is going to be the last mask from the Rob Zombie movies. I think this is the best variation of all of the masks that he featured in his remakes, and that is going to be the Rob Zombie 2 remake, the bloody version, used in the opening sequence of the Halloween 2 remake. This mask looked really, really good. It wasn't ripped like, the later on in the movie. The ripped part was bloody, looked a little bit different from the first Rob Zombie mask, and it looks really solid, intimidating. I really like it, and I'm not sure why more people don't feature this in their rankings, because it's definitely a big difference between this one and then the one used later in the movie, and also the first Rob Zombie remake. So yeah, I think this mask looks really solid. Definitely the best variation of the mask created by Rob Zombie in the remake. So number 9 is this one. Number 8 is going to be the Halloween Kills mask, and I'm sure some of you might have had this ranked a bit higher, or placed a bit higher on your ranking. But for me, the Halloween Kills mask, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's certainly not a bad mask at all, that's not what I'm saying, but I just don't think it's as good as people make it out to be. I think it's a bit overrated. I do, of course, like that it's, burnt. It's something that's never really been done before in the Halloween franchise, so it looks cool and everything like that, but there are a few problems that I have with it that make it ranked a little bit lower than some people would have expected, which is, I think, because it's burnt and a little bit charred, it kind of messes with the mouth and things like that, and it makes the facial expression almost look sort of like a frown in the Halloween 4, kind of like in the Halloween 4 sequel, and I'm not a huge fan of that. But otherwise, pretty solid mask. I think they did a great job. The team did a great job once again in this Halloween Kills sequel at just nailing the mask, and I think they did a pretty good job. Nothing more to say. Number 7, though, I am going to be putting the Halloween Ends mask, the newest mask to the block, and this mask has been leaked, obviously, with, the trailer, and also Trick or Treat Studios made their version of this mask. Well, I shouldn't say version. They made the Halloween Ends mask as well, and it's now for sale and everything like that, which I did order, by the way. And I think this mask it looks better than the Halloween Kills mask. I like that instead of being charred, now, after years, it's kind of just melted. It's kind of smothered. It almost looks like kind of like wax on the side of the face from what I could see, and I think it looks better. The only small problem that I have with this mask, very, very small problem, and I understand it just has to do with how the Halloween, the modern sequels of Halloween have done with the hair. The hair almost looks like it almost looks like Michael Myers just got like a fresh cut. It's very pulled back, and maybe I've been looking at the Halloween, the Trick or Treat Studios variation of this mask a little bit too much. But I've also been trying to look at the trailer as much as I could as well. So that was just a small problem that I had with it. But overall, this Halloween Ends mask is, from what I can see, is looking to be pretty solid. So, yeah, it goes at the number 7 spot. Coming in at the number 6 spot is going to be the Halloween 2 mask from 1981. I just nicknamed this mask Warlock because I think a lot of the features of this mask were... that made it so distinct and unique were centered around kind of just Dick Warlock's head, his head shape, and it definitely played a big role in how this mask ended up looking in the movie, and it ended up looking pretty solid. Now, kind of the small story behind this mask, if you don't know, this is the same mask used in the original Halloween, but it definitely does look different from the original Shatner mask. And I believe the reason why it looks different is either they weren't planning a sequel and so they didn't really care to take care of it too much, or they were planning a sequel but they mistakenly thought that keeping it under your bed when you're a heavy smoker is going to keep a latex mask safe, which is obviously not true. So Deborah Hill, who is a heavy smoker, the executive producer in the Halloween franchise, had this mask tucked under her bed or some kind of storage place, and that's hence why it looks, smoky, dirty. Hair looks like kind of orange in this in the Halloween 2. But overall, despite those changes, the mask still looks pretty good. I do like that kind of dirty look. Hair, the kind of orange hair, not really a huge fan of it, but I do like how the hair kind of sticks out a little bit more in this mask. And the mask is definitely a little bit more widened, and that's not necessarily because, it was ruined because it was, badly taken care of, but that's because of just Dick Warlock's face kind of a little bit more wider. And I don't think that's necessarily a problem that I have with this mask, but yeah, much more dirty, grungy than the first mask, and I think it's still a pretty solid mask, and yeah, nothing more to say. With all the problems that I have with this film, I do got to admit that the mask is pretty solid. So at number 5 is going to be the Halloween 6 mask. This mask looks great. It looks intimidating. And it really just goes along with George P. Wilbur's improved performance in Halloween 6 compared to Halloween 4. And the mask significantly helped with that. If you disregard all of the problems that I have or many other people have with Halloween 6, you got to admit, the Halloween 6 mask looks great. The hair is done really well. The detail, I think, is balanced pretty nicely. And he's got this more intimidating, almost smug look. And it really just goes along with what, like I said, George P. Wilbur's, I think, improved performance in this movie, more brutal performance. He's almost got more of the smug walk throughout the movie that makes this mask look more intimidating. And yeah, I really do like this mask. I think I used to not be a huge fan of this mask, and then I realized that this mask does look pretty solid. And so, yeah, for that reason, it goes at the number 5 spot. Number 4, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but it is the Buckler mask. I'm not even going to try to say that name later on in this video, but I tried to pronounce it. If you want to correct me, please do, because I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but my best guess is Buckler. But this is the last variation of the H2O mask that we got in the movie, and I think it is the best looking, and that largely just has to do with the fact that they used the same mold for the Halloween 6 mask to create this mask. So the story behind this mask, another unique story behind it, is that originally they were going to go with reusing the Halloween 6 mask, but because of plot changes and things like that, they decided they didn't want the Halloween H2O to have anything to do with Halloween 6, so they decided to scrap it, use a completely different mask, and that's a damn shame, because this mask looked really good in the few scenes that we got with it. It was used in the opening sequence where he's chasing, goddammit, forget what her name is, but she reappears in the Halloween franchise quite a bit, prominent character in the Halloween franchise. But it is featured in the opening scene, and of the few shots that we get of it, it's pretty much a better version of the Halloween 6 mask, in my opinion. It looks a little bit better than Halloween 6 mask. I'm a bigger fan of the hair in Halloween H2O than in Halloween 6. Thus why I think I like this mask a little bit better. Because this mask had kind of the same hairstyle as with the rest of the masks used in H2O, and I think that's why I like this mask a little bit better. So, the few scenes we got of it, it looks pretty solid and puts it at number 4 despite how little we saw of it in this movie. So at number 3, and I'm sure at this point you're counting down your fingers and you've only probably come up with 2 more masks that you can think of, and you're probably wondering what that third mask is in my ranking. And I managed to scrape up an additional mask, which is why we're at 24. And that mask is the flashback mask from Halloween Kills. So in that flashback scene that was supposed to take us back to the original movie, we got what basically was meant to resemble the original Shatner mask. And I wanted to include it on this ranking because I think I just wanted to give them respect for how well they did at recreating the mask. Because, my God, 40 years in the making of this franchise, and they couldn't even get close to recreating the original Myers mask. And any time they did, they just messed up so horribly, and then they had to reshoot it with a different mask. Oh my God. So I wanted to include this mask on here because I just want to give them credit for how well they did with making this mask look like the original Shatner mask. There are a few details on the mask that stand out where you can tell it's not the original Shatner mask, but other than that, it looks really, really good. I love it, and it definitely helped with making this scene as good as it was, because this is one of the standout scenes in the Halloween Kills movie that I think they did such an excellent job on. You know, obviously having to use a kind of CGI effect visual effects to make it look like Dr. Loomis in the scene as well, and obviously trying to change the voice to mimic it as Dr. Loomis as best as possible, and they just did a really, really good job, and the mask was one of the biggest things in this. So yeah, overall, really, really great job, and I really just wanted to give them respects for it. So number 3 is the flashback mask. Number 2 is going to be the Halloween 2018 mask, which some people in their rankings have said it has dethroned the original Shatner mask, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I think if the hair had been done similar to the original Shatner mask, I probably would have liked this mask better than the original Shatner mask and would have put it above it. But I don't really have a huge problem with the hair nonetheless. I think it kind of makes sense for, a 40-year-old mask. Otherwise, the mask looks really, really great. The detail just nailed it spot on. They still got the kind of the needle stab from the original movie that they made sure to put on this mask as well. If you've seen some of the recreations of this mask, that they sell online, like Trick or Treat Studios and stuff like that, that was on there because it was in the movie as well. So yeah, 40 years later, and they finally were able to make a really, really solid mask. And yeah, just a really, really stunning job. Not much more to say. And number 1 is, of course, the original Shatner mask from Halloween 1978. This mask is just so great. And I would just, end this video now and just say that's it. Like, I don't think I need to explain it too well, but there are just so many great, just so many things that go into this mask that make it so great. And the history behind this mask is, it's just so amazing. Obviously they had different options for what they were going to use in this movie, and they decided to go with a William Shatner mask out of all things, and so they redetailed it, redesigned it, still resembles William Shatner in a few ways. If you did a side-by-side comparison, you could see that it definitely, they definitely used it to make this mask, and they ended up with sort of a happy accident, because this mask is so great. The balance of emotion on this mask is so great, because it's not so blank that it's just completely emotionless, but it's just there's no feeling to this mask. There's no feeling that you could name off this mask. It's not fear, it's not anger, it's not, sadness, it's not, content. There's just no feeling that is in this face of the mask, and it's just such a perfect balance. The hair is nailed greatly, the eyes look amazing, which is such an important part of the Michael Myers masks. You obviously don't want to be able to see the eyes and everything like that. Obviously, they did such a great job with this. They didn't want to make it ironic, after Dr. Loomis' description of the boy's eyes. And yeah, it's obviously just such a great mask, and I don't think it will be dethroned by any mask in the future. Certainly with, how much money that they invested in some of these modern day sequels, and they still can't beat the original mask, at least in my opinion. I don't think they're going to be able to, they're going to have any, higher budget movie in the future, that is going to be able to beat this original Shatner mask. So for me, because of the history, because of how iconic it is, because of how much, just how much it adds to certain scenes in the movie, I have to put it at number 1. So, number 1 is the original Shatner mask. Alright, so a bit of a long ranking, I think probably close to an hour, but it was really, really fun. Not only ranking these masks, but also kind of going down the long history and awkward history of the Michael Myers masks in the franchise. And I had a lot of fun with it. You certainly don't have to add all of the, just side, one-shot masks in your ranking, but do be sure to give me your ranking in the comment section down below, at least with, all of the movies and the main masks that were used in those movies. But this is my ranking. I wanted to include them all because I wanted to go through this just awkward history of the Halloween franchise with its masks and their inability to to create a decent mask. Because let's be honest, just 50% of these masks in this ranking were just pretty bad. So yeah, that is it for the rankings. Stay tuned for the many other Halloween franchise rankings that I'm going to be releasing in October. Yeah, I'll edit this video while I'm recovering, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks I will be back in session to be able to record some more videos for you guys. So yeah, like and subscribe, guys, and I will see you in the next video.